Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, friends. Welcome. I'm really excited to catch you up on some personal health and wellness updates. It's just me today for a solo episode. If you have been stuck, you're looking to lose fat and you feel like you've tried it all, this episode is for you. Even if you're not on a weight loss journey, but just here to learn, get healthier, which I think most of us are, I am sharing some of the things that I'm doing that have been making a huge difference. At the end of this episode, I also talk about a new self-care guide that I created. I've been talking about this as a guest on different podcasts that I've been on, and people have been really loving it. So I created a self-care menu guide, and it's really cool. It's a really great way to kind of customize a little self-care into your life, and it's completely free. You can download it. There's a link in the show notes where you can just go click. So it's easy. Download it for free. And it is all yours. If you enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Which they are doing a new thing, which is really cool. You can text us in the Apple app, which is super fun. Any topics you would like to hear more about or any feedback that you have for me, go ahead and send me a text and I can see it, and I'd just love to hear from you. So enjoy this episode today, and thanks again. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Learning to Glow podcast, and thank you for being here with me today. I have not done a solo episode in a really long time, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to give a little bit of an update on my health and certain things that have been working for me. I always love to share what works, what's been helpful when it comes to my health. And I've shared a lot about my health journey on this podcast. And I've been on, a health journey for many years. And I feel like ever since COVID, I have definitely gained weight. And it seems like it's been a really big struggle for me to lose weight. And I consider myself such a healthy person. And I do so many things right. I see this all the time where people online are like, I do everything right and I can't lose weight. A lot of women that are like around my age as well. So I can relate to that. Absolutely. Last year, towards the end of the year, I decided that I was going to make some changes, and I got some help with a nutritionist, and she kind of guided me into tweaking what I'm doing already. And I've been able to see some results. So it is a slow process. And that's part of what I'm going to share today. But I'm totally fine with that. I thought I would share 5 things that I'm doing that have helped me lose some weight. I've lost about 10 pounds and I've been gaining muscle and I'm feeling good. There are things that I still need to work on. I am not done with my journey at all. I feel like I will be able to reach my goals. I'm going to keep going with them until I am where I want to be. And that, you're never finished, but I'm really having some great progress. And I just want to share how and why and what I'm doing and all of those things. I think that some of the health struggles that I've had surely have not made this easy. Hormonally, being in perimenopause, there's challenges that come with that as well. But there are definitely things that I have been able to change a little bit to help me with this process. And that's what we're going to talk about. So the first one that I want to talk about is breakfast. I did not used to be a breakfast eater. It's something that I've struggled with for a long time. And I realize now that being super full in the mornings was not always like as great as I thought it was. I did not have hunger in the morning for a really long time. And I've had a lot of guests come on and explain why that is. But a lot of times it's because we're just not used to it, or maybe we're having too much coffee on an empty stomach. There's hormonal reasons why, we're not super hungry in the mornings. But I have shifted to having breakfast. And sometimes I am very intuitive when it comes to timing. So every day looks different for me. It doesn't look wildly different, but it does look a little different. But one thing that I started doing that I'm obsessed with is a protein coffee. I start my day with coffee mixed with my protein powder that I love. And I get 30 grams of protein just having my morning coffee. Boom. Like I've had some protein. And that has really been great for me because when I would drink coffee on an empty stomach before, I would feel like a little jittery. And I actually gave up coffee. I think I talked about this on the podcast a while ago, but I did give up coffee for a little bit. And when I brought it back in, I did still have some of those issues that I was having with having coffee on an empty stomach. But now that I'm having my protein powder with my coffee, it's just like the best thing for me. I just love starting the day with that much protein. And that is not my breakfast, but that's where I start. And depending on where I'm at in my day, what that looks like, I will still also have a breakfast. And that has been really great because it kind of sets me up for more balanced. My hunger throughout the day is more balanced because I'm not getting to a point where I'm just so hungry I can eat anything. So that is number one. I feel like number one game changer for me. Number two, which I've already talked about, is protein. And I know everybody talks about protein. We've talked about it with so many of the guests on my show. You guys see people talking about eating your protein all day long. I got a pretty big protein goal from my nutritionist. And at first I was like, how? Like, how can you do that? And it just seemed like impossible. But what I've learned about protein is, kind of going back to like hunger, it just keeps you full for so much longer. And I know a lot of people might be rolling their eyes. I used to, like, every time I heard somebody talk about protein, I was like, not again, like, please. It really does make such a difference in the way that we build muscle, in the way that we are feeling full for longer. It's just such an important macro. They all are. All of the macros are important. But for me, in my experience, that was something that I was not doing enough of. Protein it's a foundational for our building blocks of our skin, our bones, our muscles. It's crucial. And especially now at my age, it's more important than ever. So having to be really mindful and conscious and literally tracking my protein, which is something that I didn't want to do. I just was like, I just want to feel the right amount and I want to be intuitive about it. But here's the deal. For me, especially with some of the struggles and challenges that I have and have had, I can't just guess anymore. Like, I needed to really focus and make sure that I'm getting what I think I'm getting so that I can see the results that I want. Because this is now at the point where I was like, I'm uncomfortable. I'm not happy. My clothes aren't fitting. Like, there's no reason why I should feel like this when health is such a priority to me. This is my passion. Like, I do everything that I can to really achieve the goals that I have when it comes to my health. And yet I can't be bothered to track. Like, I have to, like, especially in the beginning, I didn't have any idea what I was doing, where I was at, how much protein I was having. And once I started doing that, I had a clear picture. I had data. Then I could figure out, okay, this might be why I'm having some struggles here. And this might be why I'm not losing the fat that I want to lose and the weight. So I took my protein very serious. And that was like one thing that I paid attention to. I did not pay attention to all of them. All the macros, I paid attention to protein. And like I said, it's totally helped. And the funny thing is, and I think I posted about this on social media, but my skin, after about like 2 months, I want to say 2 months, maybe 2.5 months of having higher protein, my skin improved. I have not had any facial treatments or all the things that I have on my wish list that I want to treat myself. I have not done that. I did nothing in 2024 for my skin. And, I do basic facials every 6 to 8 weeks. But other than that, like some of the more invasive stuff that I want to do, like microneedling and laser, I have not done any of that. But I did see a difference in my skin, a positive difference. So that's another reason to get your protein in. I mean, there's a million reasons. I can talk more about that on another episode, but that is foundational. I would say if I had to pick one thing that has changed my body and my results, I would probably have to say protein. So keep in mind, I can even do some examples of how I get it in. If you guys are interested, you send me a message, send me an email, because that did take a little bit of time to figure out. And if you're not used to eating that much, you have to get a little creative. So I can do that if you guys are interested. So number 3 is walking. Well, duh, everybody talks about walking too. Walking is such a benefit. It's cardio, it's endurance, it's being outside, it's just moving your body, it's low impact. There's so many great reasons why we should be walking. And I've always walked since COVID. I started walking daily, but I upped my walking. I use my little Apple Watch and I try to get my steps in, and I use 10,000 steps as sort of my base goal. Sometimes I don't hit it, but I try to. I try to get close, like in a range, like maybe 8 to 10,000. And on the weekends, when I have a little bit more time, I try to go for like 15. I hit a record a couple of weeks ago, and I had walked 25,000 steps on a Sunday, and when I had a lot of time, and I felt great. Like, I didn't feel sore the next day, and I think I would have before if I've been building up to walking more and getting more steps in. But I love the way that I feel. I don't get like super crazy hungry like I would with maybe a high impact type of workout, like a HIIT workout. It's just something that has been so enjoyable. I try to get on the weekends together with a friend, or my mom and I walk all the time. And that makes it even more fun. Having somebody to walk with and talk with, it makes it social too. But I have really, really enjoyed getting more steps in. And I do think it's made a big difference. Another thing that I have, because for the past few days it's been raining here, and I don't like to walk in the rain. I'm not that dedicated, but I have a walking pad. So I've still been able to get my steps in, which is incredible. Walking pads are so great, you guys. If you don't have one and you're sitting at a desk working and you want to move more, or you just feel like having something while you're watching TV or scrolling, they're like $150. They're so affordable. I use mine every single day. I'll link the one that I use. We have 2. My husband has one in his office and I have one. And it's just like the most convenient thing. And the weird thing too is, like, the more I have been walking, the more energized I get. I feel more energy versus having less energy, like if you had a really hard workout or something. So I've definitely been focusing on getting my steps in, prioritizing that. And I like using my little Apple Watch as a tracker because it keeps me informed. Again, it's like that data that we talked about. That's just my goal. That's just what I think is helping me, and I enjoy it. So that's true with any exercise. If you can find something that you really enjoy that doesn't feel like a chore, those are the kind of workouts that stick. So keep looking and trying things until until you find what you like. I had somebody I saw online was talking about how she hated to walk. It was so boring. And I honestly relate to that. I did not think walking was worth it. And now she loves it because she just gave it a chance. Like, if you are like that and you're like, you know what, I want to start walking, there's so much we can do. You could be calling a friend, you could be listening to your favorite podcast. I started listening to audiobooks this year. Put on an audiobook. You can just sit, take your time walking and listen to the birds. Like, you don't have to do anything, but find what works for you. If you do not walk currently, give it a try. Try to fit it in. It doesn't have to be every day, but like, it does help. It does help. And I think that's definitely a big contributor to my weight loss. Number 4 is expectations. Not a like weight loss tip, but more of a mindset tip. And I feel like weight loss, fat loss, fitness, health, this whole wellness category, I would say it's so much more mental than physical. I mean, if everyone just had to know what to do, it'd be way easier than actually doing it and having to contend with your brain. Your brain is going to try to cause a lot of problems when you're on a journey like this. And one of the things that has been a struggle for me is my expectations. I should be here at my goal weight faster. I should be able to, make some tweaks and overnight my all my issues should go away and I should just be at my goal, or my journey should look like this girl's journey that I see online that is 20 years younger than me. I think that knowing that your journey is not going to look like anyone else's. And, I've even seen people who are like, all I did was start walking 10,000 steps in the last month and I lost 15 pounds. Well, I could walk 20,000 steps a day and every single day. And if I didn't change anything else, I wouldn't see a result. I'm not coming from zero. I have been working out consistently. I have been eating healthy consistently, but I still have to do a little bit extra. Like I might be in a situation where it's going to take longer, and that's okay. So, managing my expectations, making sure that I don't compare myself to other people and their journeys is really important because it's easy to want to give up. Like your brain wants to be comfortable. And when you're doing something, if you really truly want to change and you've been doing something, and this goes with anything in our lives, if you really truly want to change and you are doing something that is really really hard for you, it's going to suck. And I think that if we aren't okay with just realizing that sometimes it's not going to be great, sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable, but I don't have to give up. I can still do it. I can still do it with kindness. I don't have to be mean to myself. I have come so far from the days of eating disorder, restriction, body dysmorphia, doing all of this stuff just to be skinny. I don't care about that anymore. I don't care about the things I used to care about when I was in my darker days when it came to this topic. I only care about how I'm feeling, that I'm healthy, and all of the people who have been guests on my podcast who have talked about the benefits of doing this for our future selves. And when we're older and we want to be mobile and I want to be walking around as long as possible. And I want to be as healthy as I can later. I want to be there for my grandkids. Like these are the reasons why I'm doing things. That's why it's okay that it takes a long time. This is forever. This is my life. This isn't like a 6-week, I'm going to lose 10 pounds for the summer type of a thing. This is my life. And there's no rush. And I'm not going to be perfect. And I'm not going to beat myself up if it doesn't go perfect or if the scale goes up or down. There's so many factors to it. And just like releasing that rushing, hurried mind, just letting that go, having normal expectations, doing my best, showing up, being consistent, and telling myself that I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. And being okay with that too. And I think I have a unique point of view from where I started, which was disordered, to wanting to do things differently, and then healing my relationship with my mind when it came to food and the meanness that I had, and then going kind of the other way where, okay, I'm intuitive eating, I'm body positive, I'm fine the way I am. And I do believe that I am. But it was like I got to a place because of sort of the climate out there, the way that body positivity movement came in. And it was like I actually got to the point where I felt guilty because I wanted to lose weight. I was like, well, I should be happy and content with the way I am. And if somebody would post something about losing weight, they were shamed for that. You're disordered, you're restrictive, you're this, you're that. And then so I saw that and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be like that, especially with my background. And I feel like I've come so far, like I've come out of that. And I like my reasons, like your reasons for what you're doing. I feel like that really helps with sticking to your why when it comes to something like weight loss and fat loss. Because I call it fat loss. I'm trying to lose fat, not just weight. I don't care what my number is on the scale anymore. I want to lose fat. And I also don't care if that means that my scale is a little bit higher because I have more muscle, because that is really one of my biggest goals: fat loss and muscle gain. I want to have muscle for my health. But anyway, coming full circle, now I realize I am totally allowed to want to lose, the weight. I want to feel amazing. I want to be as healthy as I can. And that's wonderful. I'm not doing it in a terrible way. I'm not starving myself. I'm eating so much. I'm eating so many good things. I'm eating things that make me feel good. I'm moving my body. If I'm sick, I don't work out. I've had issues with that in the past as well. But if I say I'm going to go to the gym, I go to the gym. I follow through with what I say. And that part's kind of easy for me. So just because I do enjoy exercise, so that part's not been hard for me. But this is a little bit longer to say that our mind and our brains are something that we have to really pay attention to during this process, and the way we speak to ourselves, the promises that we make to ourselves, that we keep them, that we don't have too high of goals that they're just never going to happen, and then we just end up giving up. So being realistic with our expectations is huge. So number 5, the final one for today, is sleep. Prioritizing sleep is pretty important. And my nutritionist told me that we really start to lose and burn body fat when we're sleeping after hour 7. So if we're not taking care of ourselves in the sleep department, then we have some issues with fat loss. And I think a lot of times people in perimenopause have some issues with fat loss because they're not sleeping. Their hormones are changing and it's affecting their sleep. That will affect the way that you lose weight. And so in December, I got sick. I was sick for a long time. I felt like I have not been this low energy in a long time. Getting up in the morning was very challenging. And I'm a morning person. Like, my biggest thing that I love is quiet mornings. I love to get up and I love to go to the gym and I love to exercise and I love to have my little morning routine. And I wasn't able to do that. And I was upset about it. I was like feeling guilty about it. I was just feeling like I'm missing out. And I had to really like take a step back and say, I need to give my body this time, especially because my hormones have been so off in the past couple months that it's on top of being sick, it's been the hormones. And I have just needed to take the time to rest and to really allow myself to not have that morning time for a little while, just because I was listening to my body. I've gotten to the point where I'm really good at listening to my body. I'm more in tune with it than I ever was because I listen to it and I know it so well. And before, I would ignore it. I would ignore the fact that I needed to sleep, or, whatever the case may be. When it comes to sleep, it has been a big priority. And I know that everything is happening when you're sleeping too, as far as repairing goes. Every function, all of the things that we have in our body that need repairing, that function happens at night when we sleep. And that is something that I'm trying to optimize because I have some work to do when it comes to my health and some struggles that I have. So sleep is something that I've had to, unfortunately, give up a little bit of my morning routine and make that something that for the time being, I prioritize. So when it comes to like exercising, and this is kind of like a bonus tip, but exercise for me, I am not doing it super early in the morning anymore. And I know that will change. Like, when I get my hormones under control, which I'm working on, I know I'll be able to definitely get up and go again because that's important to me. I like to do that and I like to start my day that way. But I still get my exercise in. One of my favorite exercises is called Hype and Tone. And I go into the studio, but it's really early, so I can do it at home. I have like a little home gym that I can work out. I do my walking, as we've talked about. Also do some strength training in my garage, which is really great. I love to do yoga. So I'm getting a variety of exercise that I like, that I think benefit me, and that also help build muscle, because that is one of my biggest goals. So the strength training is really important, which I can get in Hype and Tone. And also I can do it in my garage with my weights. That is something that I will always prioritize for my brain, for my everything. I think once I start to figure out my hormones a little bit more, I'll be able to switch back into getting up early again. But that means I have to go to bed early. And we have a lot of episodes about morning routines and sleep. I'll link some of my favorite ones in the show notes because it's that important. And it's especially if you are on a weight loss journey. If you're listening to this because you are on a weight loss journey or you're interested in fat loss, don't forget the sleep. It's not an afterthought. And I know a person who will sacrifice their sleep for some pretty intense workouts in the morning, and your body it can't handle all of that when you're at this age and trying to deal with that. Belly fat is like a common problem that people have with hormones and lack of sleep. and then you do some things that they're super high impact, that could have a negative impact on your fat loss as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. Even though we love it, it's so fun to get our workout in for a lot of us. We gotta do what's right and what feels best. And that goes back to like being in touch with your body and really listening to the needs. There's a couple other little things that I have done that I feel like I've done in the past. It's not anything super new, but I also think it adds to the results that I've been getting. I've just started looking at sugar a little bit more in general. I try to minimize the amount of sugar I'm getting, whether it's processed or otherwise, because sugar is sugar. So I'm a big fan of fruit. I eat fruit, but I keep my eye on my sugar intake. And I feel like when I started doing that, stuff started to change. So if you're eating a ton of sugar, take a look at that because that could be holding you back. Love to watch, do little things for my blood sugar to keep it from spiking so much. So I love to drink apple cider vinegar with water while I'm cooking dinner or throughout the day. That will help stabilize your blood sugar. I love putting cinnamon on everything. I put cinnamon in my coffee. I put it on apples. I like it on cottage cheese, yogurt. So there's a lot of ways that you can add in cinnamon and apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar makes for a great salad dressing if you mix it with olive oil and some seasonings. Those are great ways to watch your blood sugar as well. And another tip that I really like is eating healthy snacks while cooking. There was a video I saw online and it was this lady eating sliced cucumbers with chopsticks and like soy sauce, or I think I use tamari or coconut aminos, but she would slice her cucumbers and just put some of that seasoning on and eat it with chopsticks. And that was like her pre-dinner snack. And I was like, "Oh, that's so smart," because sometimes when I'm cooking, I'll be like, "Oh, I gotta taste the sauce and I gotta taste the meat." And then all of a sudden I'm like, how many like servings of food did I just have? Like, I have no idea. So I have been doing the cucumber while I'm cooking. It's so good. I love cucumbers, but I like it with this seasoning that they do and maybe some garlic, a little bit of garlic or garlic powder. And I love just cherry tomatoes. I love just like, I eat cherry tomatoes, like a half a cup of them or whatever it is while I'm cooking. And it's so sweet because I have cut back on the sugar. The cherry tomatoes just are so sweet and delicious. And there's so many great benefits to just eating tomatoes. So I like to do stuff like that while I am, or foods like that. Maybe it's carrots, maybe it's an apple while I am cooking. So then another reason I love it is because when I sit down, I'm not like, I was starving before and I'm going to eat like really, really fast. It helps me eat slower and it helps me get to the point where I'm not eating really, really fast, which is another thing that I am trying to be mindful of. So I know this is a lot. These are a lot of things that I've been doing. Like I said, I've been doing so much of this for so long, but it wasn't until I just made small changes and kind of started tweaking things a little bit more that I started to see the results. And like I said, it's been a slow process, but it makes me so happy that after all this time, years of just not being able to see the scale move in the way that I wanted to, in the right direction, that it just feels amazing. Like, yes, there are things that we can do. They're not even like that big of things. It's not extreme. It's not that uncomfortable. There are times where I'm like, okay, well, I'm done eating for today. And I kind of feel like having my kids having a Reese's peanut butter cup over there or whatever. Yeah, that looks good, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because I'm more interested right now in kind of getting to the goal that I told myself that I needed to get to, that I want to get to. And, it works. So I will keep you posted on all of this. I don't know when I'll be at my final goal. That is not something that I'm super concerned about, but I keep going forward and I will just keep you posted. If I find anything else that's been super helpful for me along the way, I will let you know. I also wanted to share that I have a new self-care menu guide that is available. I created this. I did a podcast with someone in December, and we were talking about having a self-care menu, and that when you are trying to do something for yourself, trying to add more self-care time into your schedule when you're so busy, it can be really overwhelming. You can feel bad about not spending time on you and taking care of you. And I created this little menu that you could just kind of
pick and choose from it based on what you need for that day or what you need for that week. And I give you some ideas of how to do this and how and why to do this. What are some reasons that we need to take time aside and do these things? And what fills up your cup? Because what fills up your cup isn't going to be the same thing that fills up my cup. So when you have a menu of ideas that you can really customize for yourself, then you can add it into your life. It can bring you some joy. It can bring you some stress relief, all the things that we need. So I have that on my coaching webpage, which is learningtoglow.com. And then you can go / self-care menu. And I will link this in the show notes as well for you guys. So you can just go to that you can go to that link and it'll auto download this little guide for you. It's really cool. I really love it. I actually printed it out and put it where I do my makeup. And I try to consciously pick something or several things in the day or in the week. I like to look at things like kind of more weekly, but mind, body, and soul. How can we take care of our bodies today? How can we take care of our minds? Meditation, whatever it might be. How can we connect with others? There is some really good ideas there. So make sure you go to learningtoglow.com and check that out. Thank you guys for being here. This was fun. I love sharing all of this with you. I always share what I learn and what is helpful. And these have been game changers for me. I know a lot of them we hear about, they're basic a lot of the times, but are we doing them? They work. There's people talk about them for a reason. Let me know if you guys want to hear more examples about what I'm actually eating, because that's been pretty fun to discover as far as how to get my protein. All of those things as well have been really helpful. So let me know what you guys want to hear more of. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.